talking about how you came here. If you're living in Nashville, you want to move to the beach, you decide on Panama City. How did that end up being owning a Pro Image Sports?
That was kind of my idea. Being a huge sports fan, it's something I always thought would be cool to do. She was a big heck no, we're not doing that.
What were your reservations? I mean, you guys didn't have retail experience. Was that a part of it?
Yeah, that was a part of it. And then just not only losing good benefits. You know, it's a scary thing to go into something like that and kind of lose what you're comfortable with. I mean, it's kind of something he's always talked about for years. Kind of one of those pipe dream things, like, oh, it'd be a cool thing to own your own sports store one day.
I'm going to be a firefighter. I'm going to be an astronaut.
One day, I'm going to own my very own sports store.
Sheena, will you marry me and be my partner one day when I own my own sports store?
Huh? Heck no. I mean, we were never in a position to really kind of look into that. We're just busy with the kids, and we dabbled a little bit into selling some jerseys out of our basement for a while.
I never knew you guys were doing bootleg jerseys.
Yeah, well, they're not, they weren't quite bootleg,
Not really.
Gray market?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a whole nother story.
We got some secrets now.
One of you guys are so proficient with your e-commerce. You know how to ship boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do.
Yep.
Yes, we do. We knew exactly what we should be putting them jerseys in. So
fast forward 7 years. Worth it being your own boss?
at times.
Yeah, at times.
Get to work.
What do you got to say to that?
Not much.
No, yeah, it is.
Talk about the dynamic of having a store in a tourist-driven beach town. What's the population here year-round?
Approximately 13,000 people.
What's the population in July?
Hundreds of thousands of people, yeah.
Right.
There's over 1 million visitors here a year.
It's an interesting dynamic because a traditional pro image, we're going to do 25% of our sales in December. Not the case at all for you guys. Gear up for beach season, and then you're going into football, and it's kind of like, oh, our busy time is over. Now we can relax a little bit.
Yeah, it's just weekend business from there on out.
I mean, our Christmas is still pretty decent.
December is our third best month here. July 1, June 2, December 3.
It could be better if people would want to cross the bridge, but there's a strange thing out here. There's a bridge that connects Panama City to Panama City Beach, and it's not a big deal to go across that. For some reason, locals seem to think so. People from Panama City Beach don't like to go to Panama City. People from Panama City don't like to come to the beach unless they're going to the beach. We always thought it was a bunch of crap until we moved here, and then we thought, ooh, this is a real thing.
What other little nuances are there, do you think, that are just completely different with this store versus a traditional pro image?
We're not geared for a specific team.
Think about where your tourists are coming from. They're coming from regional states, so as long as you got something from those states, you're going to be selling it.
The governor of Florida calls it unimaginable destruction. He is referring to the Florida Panhandle 24 hours after Hurricane Michael smashed ashore.
You're open for a couple years, the store's doing well, you move to this awesome house, and then shortly thereafter, this hurricane hits.
Immediately after. We had just purchased this house. We closed 10 days before the hurricane hit. We were out in Maryland, and I'm sitting there in the hotel room watching the news, and they started talking about this hurricane that's about to hit Panama City Beach, and I'm like, what? Where'd this come from? There was no, like, we get like a good 7-day notice. And so I'm like hollering in the shower at him, like, we gotta go home. There's a hurricane coming. We flew back home, went to the store, got all that secured, came here, and we were like, okay, what are we doing?
Everybody around here was staying.
Because at that point, nobody really knew if it's hitting the beach or if it's hitting the city. You just always assume it's going to hit the beach. We were like, you know what? I've never been through a hurricane. I really don't want to be through one. So let's just go. Let's just be safe. We took off towards Alabama and then was out of touch with things that were happening here. You don't know what's getting hit, where it's getting hit, if there's damage, no damage. You don't know what's happening to your homes and your business, and you're just like in limbo.
Yeah, we did know that the Hurricane Michael was supposed to hit directly on Panama City Beach. This was Tuesday when we left. It actually made a landfall Wednesday morning the next day, but it had just shifted east to Panama City Beach, which put it in a direct path to Panama City.
It was a little while before we got to come back home, and we drove back home and we got to the beach and checked the store. We're like, yeah, this all looks good. We get to the east side of Panama City Beach and you start seeing a little bit of stuff.
Trees down.
Trees down, a little debris. Wasn't much, you know? This, we can handle this. Cross the bridge to Panama City, land into, I don't know, like a bomb had went off just immediately. As soon as we got across the bridge, you're just like, you don't even know where you're at. It's amazing the wind force that Hurricane Michael
155 mile an hour
had.
winds came.
It's like a war zone.
And I just look over and she's just in tears.
It was a horrible thing to see. It was just devastating. Like you didn't even know. You're like, wait, wasn't there a McDonald's there? Like, where are we even at? Like, what street? You know how
Yeah,
you're
we
like,
had no clue. We live off of the 390. We had actually passed that road. There's no landmarks there.
It's all gone.
Trees are.
Everything's
You had no
just-
clue where you were even at.
pull into our neighborhood here and all you see is trees on people's homes, in people's homes, debris everywhere. Just can't even get into our front door because it's just full of debris and trees. We had a coverway to get into the house. The fences are gone, the roof's knocked off, damage everywhere. We had a pine tree that was 100 years old. The way the wind caught it, it blew that direction.
We lucked out.
Lucked
yeah.
out on the tree falling on the house, which I'm so glad that didn't happen, but it was a mess. It was just a mess. They had you take everything out by the street, whatever debris, whether it came from your house, trees, it all went out there. Piles were,
They were massive.
can't
Like
see.
you would walk to your front door, you couldn't tell you even had neighbors around you.
And people realize the hell people go through when they're going through these storms. My heart just goes out to people every time.
Speak to what the hurricane did to the mall and to the store and spirits of what are we going to do? The mall basically told us we have bills to pay too.
Right, correct, yes.
We're fighting, trying to get you guys some help. Like, stores closed, there's no water in town, there's no power. That was pretty defeating.
It was hard to
Right.
swallow. How are you supposed to pay big bills like that when you've got nothing coming in?
Luckily, the mall didn't get damaged nearly as much as other parts of town. Things were so bad here that you guys were coming here to charge your phones.
We eventually came here just to use internet. There was no internet, cell phone service outside of this general area. When the hurricane hit, the beach was out of power for about 4 or 5 days is all. In town, however, it was upwards of 2 months.
How long before the mall reopened?
2-3 weeks.
And when the mall did reopen, you guys opened immediately as soon as you
Oh,
could.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Most tenants did not.
Nike, there was quite a few of the bigger stores were not reopened, which was understandable. They had workers displaced. The bigger stores just were not opening.
You come back, you get reopened, and the mall's a ghost town.
And who the heck is thinking about shopping at
They don't
Pro
have
Image
power.
Sports? Yeah, I remember calling you and saying, man, what do we do? You said, I don't know, man. This has never happened before.
We just kind of figured we're not going to generate much income for a while because people are displaced. They don't even have homes. They're not
They
coming
can't
to
get
buy a
gas. They're
hat.
not worried about
Right,
buying a hat.
exactly.
How long after you reopened is the mall still a ghost town?
It was Halloween, almost a month after the hurricane that you started seeing people here. Construction workers were coming in. People that had lost their homes over the bridge, they were moving these displaced families into condos on the beach. So now we got the people that never even knew we were here, contractors with money here.
I believe November and December you had record months.
Correct.
Because of all this.
Yes.
We never even expected that to be a thing. We just kind of figured, what are we going to do? Shit, there is no other paycheck. This is it. Then these construction workers came and they weren't affected in a negative way. It was a relief to, you know, at least have that part of the nightmare to look a little bit brighter and better. We had, you know, a whole nother nightmare on the other end of the spectrum.
It's like a waiting game after, like all the insurance companies, and they've got millions of people to go see, so you're just on waiting lists and you can't do anything. It was a horrible experience that I don't wish on anyone. And then contractors. We went through a few contractors that we ended up having to fire. They tell you they'll be here at 8, don't show up till 2, want to work until 4, and then go home. There's just a constant battle getting anything done. And then when they do, they don't do it right. You can't pass inspections. And you just get to a point where you're like, you know what? Why am I paying these people to do this shit work? I can do it myself. I'll just start doing it myself.
The YouTube video.
But I did. I just took it over and said, screw it. Taking a lot of time, a lot of money, lots of emotion. But now it's better than it's ever been. So it looks good now.
You don't have any background in building anything. It's amazing to me how good this looks from watching YouTube videos, rolling up your sleeves and figuring it out.
Yeah, yep.
The whole bar.
Yep, did the whole bar, did our fireplace. I ripped out the old one, put in the new one.
Hey, I went and picked up the beer.
Yeah, flooring, baseboard, painting, designing, all of it.
This obviously became a full-time job and then
did.
some for you.
Before the hurricane, Bryce and I worked together. We were never apart. When he opened the store, I opened the store. When he closed the store, I closed the store. We had each other, we had our roles, and once the hurricane came,
Our roles had to change and things had to be different. I had to step back and not be in the store like I was before. Made him have to work more.
At what point did you guys start thinking about bringing Dylan into the stores?
Dylan was getting out of the Air Force, called his mom, said, hey, I'm not re-enlisting. She said, you're stupid. You need to stay in, do your 20 years. He said, nope,
Retire
I'm
early.
coming back to help you and Dad out with the store. But this is what I need to make. And his mom laughed at him. Said, dude, we are not paying you that. She told me the story when I got home that night, and I said, well, give me a day or two to think about this. There may be a way. I talked with Sheena. I said, look, if he can get our online going where he can cover his salary, plus I have a full-time employee in the store, I think it's worth it.
So we came to him and said, hey, look, we can match your pay, but here's the deal. He was like, I got it.
And he came in and did it right away.
You made him come, grind, improve himself.
We don't believe in handing things over to our kids. They just need to work hard like everybody else.
You're working for it.
This was a surprise. You did 6 years in the service.
6 close to 7. Yeah.
At what point were you like, man, I want to come help Dad out and work in the family business?
Probably right after the hurricane. I just got back from my deployment like a week after the hurricane happened. Driving through Panama City, it looked like a war zone. And then right after the hurricane, COVID hit. He just had a really hard time finding employees. I mean, he was working 6-7 days a week. You know, that's just not good for your body. I just wanted to come home and help him. I mean, I didn't want to see my dad die at 60 years old because he's working every day. Anytime I talked to him, he was like, I'm working. That's literally all he was doing. So it was a big thing for me to get out and help them out. Very important.
It's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Tell us what it's like having your dad as your boss.
Honestly, it's good. You know, a lot of sons and dads have like a personal relationship, obviously, but to be able to have that work relationship too and be able to see him every day and work with him.
Bryce has always been a worker. He's never been lazy a day in his life. When the kids were growing up, he worked a lot, so now they're getting to catch up on many hours that they didn't get to have.
I've always thought when he was in the Air Force, like, man, this was probably something I should have done earlier. His perspective on things, he's made me open up to things I would have never even done.
Dylan came on to help his parents with their business, and he made a significant impact right away.
I think everything's gone well so far. I mean, we took it from $6,000 to $10,000 online a year to close to $100,000.
He took the hype of fitted hats in 2021 and gave Bryce suggestions, and by the end of 2022, they were just under $100,000 in online sales, a 430% increase. Kudos to Dylan. Just like his dad, he's got a great work ethic.
Now looking back, it's a great thing. He's learning a lot from Bryce. It's been a blessing to see.
It's been amazing. You know, he's the best boss I've ever had. And I've had a lot of bosses.
He still never lets up, he'll always let me know when I'm in the wrong or which way to go. If I'm stressed out, he'll always pick up the phone and solve the world's problems in a 30-minute call. So if you ever have to wonder, old man, damn sure glad that you're my dad.
I'm real proud that we have a couple veterans that are franchisees, and I think the work ethic both of you have, probably the foundation of some of that was from your time in the military. If you would, just kind of speak to what the military experience has been for the Walsh family.
Danny, our oldest, was probably 3. Dylan was about 1. Bryce was working days. I was working nights. Comes home from work one day and he goes, "Hey, guess what I did today?" I'm like, "What'd you do today?" He said, "I joined the Army." I said, "You did what?"
We were living in Fremont, Nebraska, in a trailer park. I worked days at a roof truss plant. She worked night making sandwiches. I'm like, man, this can't be our life for the rest of our lives. I started looking into the military, and I knew she would talk me out of it. So I enlisted, and it was probably the best decision that I had ever done. I was kind of the elder going into basic training. I was 25 years old at the time, but I always knew we'd have a roof over our head, food on the table, could have a parent staying at home with the kids, so that was huge for me. I was in the Army for 6 years. I was a turret mechanic on the M1A1 and A2 tanks. Getting up early, how they always say you do more in the Army by 8 o'clock than most people do in one day. That is extremely true. Got a big part of my work ethic came from there and my parents.
So Dylan, for you, I mean, how did his serving play into your decision to serve?
I'd say a lot. After high school, I went to East Tennessee State University for a semester. Got like a 1.4 GPA. I think I went to class like 4 times the whole time. Partied almost every night, and I was like, yeah, school's not for me. Decided to go in the military. Talked to my dad about like what branch I should go into, and he's the one who recommended to go into the Air Force.
I always told myself if I had to do this over again and be the Air Force, they had the best of everything, and that's what I wanted for him. At the same time, they work just as hard as everybody else.
I deployed twice, once to Qatar, once to Germany. We worked every day while I deployed, so I was just used to working hard, and it was just an easy transition from doing that to what I do now.
I mean, it really makes you value and respect what you have in the civilian world.
You look in the store, it is immaculately merchandised and organized. You see a lot of hard work, discipline. It always looks perfect.
Thank you.
I think that's a testament to both your work ethics
And my OCD.
Sheena, do credit here.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing with customers. I mean, that's the greatest feedback we get from people. They say, man, this is the cleanest store I've ever been in. I just want to thank you for that. Man, that's a big compliment.
Yeah, that was something I said from the very beginning is I think it's easier to shop in a store that's neat and clean and organized, because I just truly feel that you're not going to have the sales that you need to have when you have a mismanaged store.
You guys have new customers every week. People are here on vacation, they come in for a week and they leave. It's a lot of first impressions. And so I give them a reason to come back year after year because that first time they came in and were blown away by how good the store looked, how good the service was, how good your selection was. It's a consistent, positive experience.
Does that look too big, Chris?
We're gonna mirror right on this back door, Nicole.
It's cute,
Yeah,
you know?
there you go.
Wear it to work, I'll wear it to the game. Yeah, I like it. I'm excited. It's been since Steve Smith since I've purchased a Carolina jersey.
Oh, that's been a minute.
It's been a hot minute. Every time I come in here, Bryce is here. I think he sleeps here. I'll be back probably in a week or two. Who knows?
Oh yeah, football season.
I'm in here, I know. Tis the season. It is here. It's time. Probably will showcase this jersey tonight.
I'm going to guess you work somewhere that plays music and serves alcohol.
That's correct. I work right here in Pier Park at Tootsie's. I'm there 3 days a week. Pop in for a cold one.
We'll be there.
Day drinking is my next favorite sport next to football. Speaking of football, shout out to our friends from Football right here in Pier Park. If you need some sports wear, anything you see this evening, that's where I buy all my stuff. And I'm waiting on the sunset, you just bring for me in. Oh, I think harmony is only like some country song. Don't shake you before she really in the fire. Well, I keep it on love, just living it on me.
I love Pro Image. I call Boss Man Pops sometimes. I call Dylan my brother. It's been such a big family thing working here. It's a great thing to have just right here in Dothan because it's so many sports fans in the area. We're not really used to a store like having somewhere you can come have a big variety of hats. It's been really tremendous.
All right, guys, let's chat about how this store came to be.
We had just gotten back from convention and me and Sheena took a short trip just to get away. And as we were sitting there eating breakfast, she said, man, didn't you work through Dothan, Alabama? I know that's only an hour and a half or so away from our house. Didn't they have a mall? She Googled it and found out that, yeah, that it was a Namdar Mall who you were just talking about at the convention. Yeah. We decided to make a trip down here to check out some spots.
We floated around here for a little while before we even peeked in here and saw this and was like, whoa, wait. What about this spot? Yeah, this looks good. This is perfect.
Checked every box of the blueprint I rolled out on diamond in the rough type opportunities. You didn't have to do anything, and then you slapped up a couple tent signs and rocking and rolling.
Yep, that was the easiest thing I've ever been through in my life. Me and Sheena came down, told you about it. We met you down here, and then shoot, I think it was within a week we had a lease negotiated already.
Why 2022? Is it the right time for us to do store number 2?
Coming out of COVID, we had the extra cash as far as inventory. We were over inventoried there. And then we had Dylan. He kept pushing us to open up a second store, and he was ready to take over that.
Would you have done a second store if you didn't have Dylan?
No, absolutely not.
No, they definitely wouldn't have, for sure. I pushed him every day.
So, Dylan, you worked here for a year?
I did.
I think you paid your dues here.
Got a lot of experience under my belt as far as managing people, filling orders, learning how to do customs, all that stuff that I can bring over to the beach to take some off of my dad's plate.
There's a lot of differences between this store and the beach store?
Obviously here it's just locals, whereas on the beach you're getting 1 million people who visit during the summer. So just getting new product in at Dothan is way more important than at the beach.
Because you can split stuff between both stores. Carrying a little over here, we can pull it for busy months for the beach, and then vice versa for the holidays. This is a better holiday store.
It's a great store. Definitely grew me, not only as a manager, but as a person.
They are very, very good owners. I want to introduce to you the franchisees of the year. The Danny Felix Award goes to Bryce and Sheena Walsh.
I don't even know what to say. We weren't expecting this at all. This is the best company ever. We love them.
One team, baby, one team. You guys were our 2018 franchisees of the year. What was real unique about you guys is at the time you didn't have a very high volume store, but it was run amazing.
Bryce and Sheena, I think if nothing else, you would definitely call them hardworking, caring, and resilient. They are just the epitome of, if you're gonna do something, do it well or don't do it at all.
Their store is pristine. They do everything exceptionally well and are model franchisees.
To have somebody like that in the system that has such high standards, you can look at their stores and see that they are just such a good representation of our brand.
You have completely trusted the system for the support and the expertise of what our team brings, and are doing really well because of it.
Why would we not listen to what you have to say?
Yeah, we've never done this before in our life. You guys are the pros at this. I listen to everybody in that office. You got a suggestion for us? Hey, I'm gonna try it. Plus, that way if something doesn't work out, I can say, that's your fault, Jake.
I think a big part of that you guys are accessible. You're willing to help your franchisees grow and be better. I know some people who are in some franchises and they've never even met their CEO. The fact that you guys have kept this a family is huge.
We might be up to 160 stores, but this is absolutely a family.
I felt that way about it all from the very beginning. You guys resonate with us, who we are, your people.
I think the biggest blessing for me is to be able to work with people that are true friends.
Everything in here has been signed. I've had him personally signed. This one's special. Dylan got me this for Christmas, the helmet. I was like, I'm getting that signed.
You took that into a concert?
I did. Took it, put it up there on the stage, and he picked it up and signed it for me.
What you've created in here is so cool. I love hanging out here. So much of you is in this room too, with all the King stuff.
Actually, the room's not quite big enough. I still have 2 boxes that are like plumb full. Kenny's been a big part of my life.
Who's this Kenny guy you keep talking about anyways?
Yeah, I mean, I've always known how big of a fan you were, but I think I just realized like the extent of, you've been to 100 shows, give or take. You've personally met him many times. What's the earliest you've showed up to be first in line?
Probably the earliest I've ever been is like 7:30
a.m.
in the morning. Everybody else is tailgating, but we are line gating. We bring coolers, we have music, we have food, we have friends. I'm not the only one. There's plenty of us, yeah.
Oh, I know.
We're all doing it. The reward is being at the stage and he's right in front of you performing. That's what I do in my spare time. Chase Kenny. You gotta make time for the things that you enjoy.
Yeah, you need to step off, take a break.
It's a family reunion every Friday night. The whole town's coming from Stadium Drive right after the football game. Yeah, the head coach rolls in a little late. He's gonna have a few beers to celebrate the
best bar in the U.S., baby.
Just got down the street. Yeah, the locals bar off of Somerville Road. Everybody's getting buzzed with everybody we know. You can come by yourself, but you can't drink alone. And the preacher man sits with the CEO. They'll raise their glass up when I play Curtis Low. If you get too drunk, you can just sleep in your car at the locals bar.
point of working so hard and living if you're not going to take a little time for yourself? It's important to mentally have something that you do that you enjoy, or you're just going to drive yourself crazy.
Refill time for me.
I still mingling on tap. Mind if I stay an extra week?
Nope, not at all.
So I'm going back to the bottle, baby, back with my ex, back to cowboy killers and Copenhagen cans. Everything I loved before love got the best of me. I might take my Chevy down another back road with every church coming through the stereo. I snap a memory and give a finger to the past. But damn, it feels good to be back.